The world was still reeling from Tracee Ellis Ross's first bombshell when she dropped the second, and this one was even more explosive. Initially, it was shocking enough when Tracee announced she'd secretly been married to Malcolm Jamal Warner for 10 years. But just as the world was beginning to digest that revelation, she took things to a whole new level, posting a photo of a teenage girl with a DNA report stamped with Malcolm's name. The caption? Heart-wrenching. You didn't just take my husband, you tried to erase my family. Meet our daughter. It was a moment that shattered everything. The woman the public thought was just a longtime friend of Malcolm's had just redefined herself as his widow, the mother of his child, and possibly the rightful heir to a $100 million fortune. Social media exploded. Hashtags trended. Some hailed her as a brave mother finally revealing her truth, while others questioned her sanity. But beneath the chaos, a chilling question lingered in the air. What if the DNA test wasn't real? What followed was a frenzy like no other. A single grainy photo of a teenage girl, eyes wide and smile soft, posted alongside a DNA report that seemed to change everything. At first, it seemed like just another celebrity scandal, but the attached document, official, or so it seemed, was the real shocker. The report was labeled with Malcolm Jamal Warner's full legal name and bore what appeared to be signatures, official stamps, and all the hallmarks of a legitimate DNA test. But was it? In an instant, the internet was in overdrive. Within hours, the post had gone viral, with millions of views. Verified celebrities were reposting. Talk shows scrambled for commentaries, and both fans and critics examined the document like detectives. Some called Tracee Ellis Ross a warrior mother, a woman finally stepping into the light. Others, though, accused her of exploiting grief for attention. But beyond the emotional chaos, one thing was undeniable: this wasn't just a photo. This was a claim of blood, a claim of family. And if the DNA test was real, it meant everything: inheritance, legacy, and how Malcolm Jamal Warner's death would be remembered. But doubt started to creep in. Despite the emotional weight of the claim, many began to scrutinize the DNA report. Tiny technical details, almost invisible, began to raise red flags. The lab listed in the report, it didn't exist in any official registry. No website, no accreditation, nothing. That was the first clue something wasn't right. And then the barcode at the top of the page didn't match the format used by certified US labs. DNA tests in America follow a strict numbering system. This barcode was off. Some experts even suggested it looked like one of the templates you'd find online. But the most alarming discovery? The signatures. What appeared to be legally binding sign-offs from medical professionals now looked suspicious. Two analysts revealed that the signatures appeared nearly identical, like they'd been copied and pasted. One expert even stated, "This formatting is inconsistent with certified court-admissible DNA results. This is a template, not a real lab report." And yet, amidst all the inconsistencies, the emotional pull of Tracee's revelation kept many quiet. If the DNA report turned out to be a fake, though, if even one detail was doctored, everything would fall apart. And the consequences wouldn't just be emotional. They could be legal, perjury, fraud. The fallout would be massive, potentially destroying everything Tracee Ellis Ross had worked for. The clock was ticking, and the real question now was, what's the truth behind this DNA report? If Tracee Ellis Ross's first bombshell left the internet gasping, her second one could very well change everything. Initially, it was staggering enough when Tracee revealed she had been secretly married to Malcolm Jamal Warner for 10 years. But just when the world was digesting that revelation, Tracee raised the stakes with a photo that would ignite a firestorm, a grainy image of a teenage girl, paired with a DNA report marked with Malcolm's name. The caption read like a knife to the gut, "You didn't just take my husband, you tried to erase my family. Meet our daughter." In one swift stroke, Tracee Ellis Ross had reshaped the narrative. No longer was she the longtime friend of Malcolm Jamal Warner. She was his widow, his partner, the mother of his child, and perhaps the rightful heir to a $100 million fortune. The internet exploded in a frenzy. Some celebrated her bravery, while others questioned her sanity. But behind the chaos, one chilling question lingered: what if the DNA test wasn't real? What started as a simple post quickly spiraled into a global scandal. A single grainy image of a teenage girl with a soft smile standing against a plain background, exploded across the web. But it wasn't the girl that sent shockwaves. It was the DNA report attached to the post. Stamped with Malcolm Jamal Warner's full legal name, the report appeared authentic, official. But was it? Within hours, the internet was abuzz. The post crossed 1 million views. Celebrities reposted. Talk shows scrambled for commentary. Fans and critics alike pored over the DNA report, dissecting every detail. Some called Tracee a hero, a mother who had fought to keep her family's truth hidden. Others accused her of manipulating grief for attention. Yet one thing was clear: this wasn't just a picture. It was a claim of blood, and if the DNA report was authentic, it would change everything. Inheritance, legacy, and the way Malcolm Jamal Warner's death would be remembered. But then doubts crept in. While the emotional weight of Tracee's revelation held many in thrall, some began to scrutinize the DNA report under a magnifying glass. Tiny technical flaws, almost imperceptible, began to raise alarms. The lab listed on the report, it didn't appear in any official registry of certified U.S. testing facilities. No website, no accreditation, nothing. That alone was a red flag. Then came the barcode. The one at the top of the report didn't match the format typically used by legitimate U.S. DNA labs. American labs follow a strict numeric barcode system, but this one seemed off, almost like it was pulled from an online template. The real shocker came when forensic experts zoomed in on the signatures. What seemed like legally binding signatures from medical professionals now appeared suspicious. 2 experts noted that the signatures looked nearly identical, almost like they had been copied and pasted. One forensic analyst went as far as to say, "This report doesn't pass the test of certification. It's more like a template than an official lab result." Despite the growing technical issues, the emotional weight of Tracee's claim kept many silent. But if the DNA test was a fraud, the repercussions wouldn't just be personal, they would be legal. Perjury, fraud, and the most devastating of all, civil liability. Malcolm's estate, valued at over $200 million, could sue Tracee for damages, including emotional distress, defamation, and attempting to unlawfully gain access to inheritance through deception. One insider close to the Warner family didn't hold back. They told reporters, "This isn't just about money anymore. This is about the truth. If she lied about this, how much more is she hiding?" And that question, more than any technical glitch or barcode error, is what's now fueling the fury behind the scenes. Because if this DNA report is proven fake, it would not only be a scandal, it would be a betrayal of a grieving family, a public manipulation, and possibly one of the most audacious hoaxes Hollywood has ever seen. While the world debated pixels, fonts, and technicalities, Malcolm Jamal Warner's family wasn't sitting quietly. According to sources close to Pamela Warner, Malcolm's mother, she was beyond furious. The moment Tracee's post went live, she didn't just take issue with the claim or the theatrics of the post. She was livid about what she believed to be a fabricated document. Pamela wasn't sitting idly by. Insiders say she's already hired a team of independent forensic investigators to verify the authenticity of the DNA report. She's pushing for a full forensic audit of every document Tracee has submitted to the courts or the media. But that's not all. Pamela is demanding that any ongoing hearings related to Malcolm's estate be put on hold until the DNA report is fully verified under federal oversight. No inheritance payouts, no asset division, nothing until the truth is known. Pamela has made it clear this isn't just about protecting Malcolm's fortune. This is about protecting his legacy from what she believes could be the biggest lie ever told about him. In the midst of a storm, one person has remained eerily silent: Tracee Ellis Ross. No interviews, no press statements, no updates on social media. While silence can sometimes be a strategy, in this case, her silence is speaking volumes. Her legal team has refused to answer the most basic questions. Where was the DNA test conducted? No confirmation of the lab. No receipts. Just vague comments about protecting privacy and shielding her daughter from public scrutiny. For her supporters, this restraint shows dignity, a mother protecting her child. But for her critics, it's damning. When the foundation of your claim is a single document, and that document starts to unravel, silence doesn't look like dignity, it looks like guilt. One legal analyst summed it up bluntly during a live broadcast. If this DNA test is authentic, Tracee should be the loudest person in the room right now. The fact that she's not speaking up, that's a red flag. And in the court of public opinion, red flags spread faster than facts. What started as a heart-wrenching revelation has now become a full-blown mystery. Tracee Ellis Ross remains silent, and the internet has decided to do the talking for her. Reddit threads exploded. Twitter turned into a forensic investigation. TikTok sleuths scoured the images, looking for any inconsistencies. And what they found wasn't pretty. One Reddit user compared Tracee's DNA report to a stock template available on a free medical form website. The formatting? Identical. Same line breaks, same structure. Others noted the date format on the report wasn't even American. It resembled a format more common in Europe or South Africa. And then there was the font. A graphic designer pointed out that the font used on the DNA report header looked like something from a free template, not a certified medical document. One viral tweet read, "This font is fine for applying to Starbucks, not for proving paternity in a $100 million estate battle." While some dismissed the font issue as nitpicking, others saw it as the smoking gun, proof that this whole document could have been fabricated in a rush to create legitimacy. Digital forensic experts began cross-referencing file metadata, timestamps, and even image compression markers. And though no one has produced definitive proof of forgery, the circumstantial evidence is stacking up quickly. When every detail is under scrutiny, even the wrong font can bring down an empire. But what if everyone is wrong? What if the critics, the internet sleuths, and the armchair analysts have jumped to conclusions? Because there's another possibility, one that's less scandalous, but far more complex. What if the DNA report is real, but simply poorly formatted? Legal experts have started suggesting that Tracee may have used a small, independent lab, one that's not widely known or publicized, to keep the test private. It wouldn't be the first time a celebrity bypassed major labs to avoid leaks. The strange formatting, the odd font, and the mysterious lab name could just be the price of secrecy. If that's the case, and the report holds up under legal scrutiny, everything changes. Tracee Ellis Ross wouldn't just be vindicated, she'd be positioned to claim spousal benefits, have her daughter recognized as Malcolm's biological child, and potentially claim full heir status in the inheritance battle. That means Malcolm's ex-wife, who already received a large portion of the estate, could be forced to return millions. The $200 million fortune could be redivided, and the teenager once hidden from the world would suddenly be the primary heir to Malcolm's legacy. But that leads to one haunting reality. Amid all the legal chaos and media firestorms, one person has been forgotten, the girl in the photo. Her name, her voice, lost in the frenzy. If the DNA report is fake, she's a victim of one of the cruelest celebrity hoaxes ever pulled. Used as a pawn in a game she never asked to play. But if the report is real, she's Malcolm Jamal Warner's daughter, a child who never had the chance to publicly grieve for her father, now caught in the middle of a multi-million-dollar inheritance war. And through it all, no one seems to be asking the most important question. How do you protect a child from the weight of a legacy that may not even be hers? Because whether the DNA report is true or false, the damage has already been done. Tracee Ellis Ross made a claim that shattered not only the silence, but possibly the entire legacy of Malcolm Jamal Warner. She didn't just say she was his wife. She didn't just say they had a daughter. She posted a document, a single-page DNA report, a digital piece of proof that, if authentic, could rewrite history. But if it's a lie, it could destroy her forever. Now that claim is under a microscope, and the pressure is building. Forensic experts are casting doubt on the report's authenticity. Legal teams are gearing up for a fierce battle. Malcolm's mother, Pamela Warner, is demanding a full federal audit of the document. And the public? They've divided into two camps, believers and skeptics, neither willing to back down. At the center of this storm is a teenage girl. Is she the rightful heir? Or is she a victim in a game she never asked to play? She's caught between the promise of a legacy and the destruction of her privacy. A child, undeniably a child, caught in a war that she didn't create. For Tracee, the stakes have never been higher. If the document holds up under legal scrutiny, she could walk into court as a widow and walk out as the rightful mother of Malcolm's only heir with a legal claim to a $100 million fortune. But if the report is proven false, It won't just be a public embarrassment. It will be a legal, reputational, and emotional disaster. A betrayal that could wipe out her credibility, wreck a child's future, and spark a courtroom battle that would drag Malcolm's memory through the mud. Because in this story, the DNA test isn't just a piece of paper. It's the final test. The ultimate trial of truth, loyalty, and legacy. And whatever it reveals, someone's world is about to come crashing down.